Have you ever noticed how the air suddenly gets filled with revolutionary talk just when a politician starts feeling the heat? Have you ever noticed how the word freedom starts falling out of the mouth of the elite exactly when the youth start looking for the exit door? Well, tonight we are dissecting a sudden miraculous awakening. African leaders, men who have sat comfortably in their air-conditioned palaces for decades, have all of a sudden woken up to realize that the African Union is unfit for purpose. Leading the choir is none other than William Ruto, the president of Kenya. He's out here with intense pressure, shouting from the rooftops that the AU needs a total overhaul. He says it's broken. He says it's not serving us. But I have a question to ask you. Who is giving them this pressure? Is it the fire from within? Is it the mental shift started by the Sahel giants conscientizing the continent and proving that you don't need a permission slip from Paris to exist? Or is this pressure coming from their masters, trying to fix the cage before the bird flies away? Well, welcome back to Power and Pulse. We don't do sweet talk here. We do the math that doesn't add up. So today, we are pulling back the curtain on William Ruto's Pan-African pivot. Is he a visionary, or is he just a man looking at an election calendar? Let's be real about the African Union. For years, it has been a glorified travel agency for heads of state. It's a place where leaders meet to take photos, sign non-binding agreements, and ignore the cries of the people. According to William Ruto, this thing is not fit for purpose. Well, Mr. President, some of us have been saying that since the 60s. But why the intensity now? Why the sudden rush to reform? The truth is, the AU has become a hollow shell, right? Just a few days ago, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a man who actually puts his life on the line in the trenches, came out and leveled the house. He told us plain and simple, the AU is not for us. He exposed the fact that even the statements they issue have to be cleared by their masters. If the masters doesn't approve the sentence, the AU doesn't print the paper. So this is why they can never act to protect us. This is why when a country is being bled dry by foreign interests, the AU is deeply concerned but completely paralyzed. They are a guard dog on a very short Western health leash. So when Ruto comes out echoing Traore's sentiment, we have to look at the motivation. Is he actually inspired by the native self-rule shown by the Sahel Alliance? Or is he terrified that the youth will see the success of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso and decide to burn the old house down and build a real African Union? Let's talk about the man of the hour, William Ruto. He is a master of the Pan-African song. When he was looking for power, the first time he brought that spirit. He spoke about indigenous mastery. He spoke about standing tall. And the youth, they gave him the power. They believed the lyrics, but then the music stopped. The moment the ink was dry on the election results, the Pan-African champion hopped into a private jet worth over 1.7 million US dollars to visit Joe Biden. Think about that. A leader talking about African solutions while burning millions of dollars in a foreign-owned jet to go sit on a sofa in the White House. William Ruto must come again. You cannot lecture us on strategic freedom while you are paying $1.7 million for a ride to your master's house. It's the classic bait and switch. He uses the language of the revolution to secure the seat of the elite. He sings the song of the masses to please the masters. And now, as we approach an election year in 2027, the song is back on the playlist. He needs to sweet talk the youth again. He needs to pretend he's the one leading the charge against the broken system. And I'm going to say something that might make some of you uncomfortable. You, the African youth looking for your unfettered autonomy, you believe this man. You think that because you stood in a line and put a piece of paper in a box, you choose your destiny. Wake up. Wake up from your sleep. In this democratic electorate, you have never voted for anybody. You think you voted for a man because of his policies. No, They decide who leads you long before you ever get to the polling station. The masters and the internal elite select the menu. You just get to choose between the red plate and the blue plate. But the food is all poisoned the same way. Ruto is after something. He's after political points. He wants to win in a way that makes it look like you chose him. He wants to hijack the energy of the Sahelian revolution and package it as AU reform. He's trying to build a bridge back to the youth using the very same spirit he sold out for a private jet ride to Washington. The real revolution Ruto is talking about reform isn't out of love for Africa. It's out of fear of the Sahel Alliance. When Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso walked out of ECOWAS, they didn't just leave a trade bloc. They shattered a mindset. They proved that an African nation can survive, not thrive, without the blessing of the colonial apparatus. They formed their own alliance. They are managing their own security. They are dictating their own terms. The youth of Kenya, Nigeria and Ghana are watching. They are seeing that it's possible to have autonomous direction. The leaders in the AU see this and they are sweating. They know that if they don't reform the AU, the youth will simply bypass it. If the AU remains a puppet show, the youth will create a new union. A union of the people, not a union of the puppets. Ruto's reform talk is a preemptive strike. He's trying to fix the chains so we don't notice we're still wearing them. He's trying to make the cage look modern so we stop trying to break the bars. Captain Ibrahim Traoré said it best. Even the statements they issue are given to them by their masters. Think about the absurdity of that. An African Union that can't even write its own press release without checking if it offends the person who is exploiting our minerals. It's a comedy show, but nobody is laughing in the villages. Ruto is coming out now to tell us we need to change this. But why now? Why didn't he say this when he was sitting in the $1.7 million jet? Why didn't he say this when he was signing deals that deepened our dependency? He is after something. Maybe he wants to be the grand Pan-Africanist of the decade. Maybe he wants to distract from the domestic failures and the crushing debts. Or maybe, just maybe, the masters have realized that the current AU is so hated that it's no longer a useful tool for control. They need a reformed AU, something that looks more African but still operates on the same Western-funded bank accounts. I have to tell you, don't fall for it. Do not be deceived by the fine suits and the eloquent English. Do not be distracted by the Pan-African hashtags. When a man shows you who he is, believe him the first time. If a man visits Joe Biden in a private jet while his people are struggling with the cost of living, that man is not your liberator. He is an actor playing a role. The African youth are looking for a real national mastery, not a rebrand. We don't want an AU that is fit for purpose if that purpose is still defined in Brussels or Washington. We want a continent that belongs to us. Ruto is trying to win your heart so he can keep his seat. He knows the Pan-African spirit is the most powerful currency on the continent right now, and he's trying to mint it as much as possible before 2027. True self-governing authority doesn't happen in a reformed AU board. It happens in the mind. It happens when we stop looking at these leaders as saviors and start seeing them as what they often are, employees of a system that wasn't built for us. Captain Traore and the leaders in the Sahel aren't asking for a reform. They are taking back their indigenous command. They aren't waiting for the AU to give them permission to protect their people. They are doing it. That is the difference between a leader and a politician. A politician talks about reform when he needs a vote. A leader takes action when his people need a future. The AU is unfit for purpose, yes, but the solution isn't a new coat of paint applied by the same people who let it rot. The solution is a new foundation, a foundation built on the native rule of the people, by the people, for the people, not for the masters. So, what is William Ruto actually after? He's after your attention. He's after your energy. He wants to channel your frustration into process that he controls. He wants you to believe that the AU can be fixed from the top down. But history tells us that the elites never reform themselves outside of power. They only reform to stay in power. The message to this African youth is this: stay vigilant, watch the actions, not the lips. If the leaders talk about African unity but sleeps in the bed of the oppressor, he is not your leader. He is a distraction. The real movement is happening in the streets, in the hearts, and in the alliance of nations that have actually drawn a line in the sand. The AU might be unfit for purpose, but African youth are more than ready for theirs. Ruto can keep his speeches. We have something they can't buy, and they can't reform. We have the truth. We have the strategic mastery of a generation that has finally seen through the puppet show. The game is up. The masters are losing their grip, and the politicians are scrambling to find a new script. But we know the ending of this story, and it doesn't involve begging for a seat at the table that we already own. So thank you all for your unwavering love and support. We really appreciate it. And before you go, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more informative and educational videos like this one. And until next time, stay blessed.